Welcome, fellas, another episode of On Point, where we stick to the main bare bones stuff in red pilled content, sexual dynamics. Again, back with a post by Royce. This is kind of one of his relationship posts, which very touching, kind of holds true to this day, and kind of laid the groundwork for a lot of what we have in the married red pill. Anyways, he calls it Hedonic Convergence. Any instability in a relationship is like carrying a brimming cup of coffee around the office. Once the coffee starts sloshing about, the momentum builds until you're forced to stand still to keep it from flying out. So relationship management is like this. Forward progress punctuated by drama fests, followed by cooling off periods to give everything a chance to settle down. The less stable the relationship, the wilder and more frequent syncs between drama and normalcy until one day, coffee's all over your shirt and there's nothing left but a stir stick in the cup. People who have been following this channel a while have heard of me talk about something called manufactured outrage. And this was kind of where the buddings of it started back in, 2007. Again, there's always got a bit of drama in there. It just doesn't work any other way. Girls need that excitement, and if it's not going to be through you, it's going to be through somebody else. And so accepting that your life is not going to be an emotional level playing field of no highs and no lows and just moderately 6 out of 10 entertainment, no. Best thing you can do is take a leadership role in that. Like he said here, do that before you end up spilling the coffee on yourself because you keep trying to move forward too fast. We all aspire to drama-free lives, or at least drama on our own terms. So the question is, what makes a stable relationship? And the best way to answer this is to turn to analogies, because they're more fun to write. The US and the USSR had a stable relationship through most of the Cold War. Two super lovers with roughly the same number of nukes, i.e. alpha characteristics. In other words, Russia was hot and America had status, whatever, for a few decades until the US began to outspend, i.e. raise her sexual market value above her commie lover. The USSR, big proud bear that he is, sensed his lover pulling away and his status diminishing in turn. He frantically tried to play catch up, but it was too late. She finally saw him for what he'd always been, a drunk, brutish, pig-headed, financially insolvent bad boy who was falling apart at the seams. The fair maiden US trotted off to make sweet love with the Brussels bureaucrats, leaving behind a sulking ex-boyfriend to lick his wounds and rebound with loyalist East Ukraine crack hoes. As far as summaries of the Cold War go, I can't think of a better one, but that's kind of the point here. Things were stable as long as everybody knew where they stand. Everybody had mutually assured destruction. Somebody ended up getting a lot better, and then people moved on. When a guy and a girl start a Tort Affair with an equal number of nukes, they can fall in a kind of love that will turn crunch-faced cynicism into limpid-eyed naivety. JFK said as much during the Cuban Missile Crisis. You know where you stand with this person. There's no feeling that you're any less than your lover, and no fear they'll leave you or go berserk when the chips are down. You both have your own groups of friends. You know that you two together are the most important people in the world. Wonder Twins is a form of romantic movie moment. It's the mutually assured destruction theory of relationships. A cataclysmic breakup would mean both of you would be worse off and unlikely to find another perfectly matched partner. Again, there's a lot of truth in this one, but you kind of got to read between the lines. But yeah, just understand a lot of these things through the lens of status, which we've talked about in previous videos. Anyways, the best way to ensure a stable relationship is to be with somebody who matches with you in attractiveness. And I'm not just talking about looks. This isn't a looks max issue. Men and women bring different attractiveness to the relationship. Girls bring youth and beauty. Guys bring wealth and status, peer selection, social savviness, emotional stability, all these things. And they kind of balance out. Add to that your own personal level of thirst, which kind of weighs down the scale one way or the other. And then you kind of get an idea what it means when we talk about sorting yourself out with passive levels of dread. Again, that's another thing that'll be in the sidebar series. Go check that out if you want to see what I'm talking about there. Now, none of this stuff was out when Royce was talking about this, but he had the basics down. Like, he understood. And that's just showing you right now. It's not some kind of weird esoteric knowledge that nobody had before. Everybody kind of knew. We just kind of had it bred out of us, commuted out of us in our little educations and our very feminist friendly ideas. But it's always been there, and it'll come back. So stick with the channel. You'll see it. Anyways, the problem with ideals is you better be pretty ideal if you want from others what others want from you. You get what you give. If the planets align and you miraculously hook a partner way above you, be prepared to feel a tightening of your chest every time she doesn't answer a text promptly, or you see him or her garnering the attention of the opposite sex while at a party together. This is your emotional back channel letting you know that you're punching above your weight and it might be time to think more realistically if you want a shot at a happy life. Without a closely matched lover, we're doomed to scooping out buckets of water from a boat with a hole in its hull. And by closely matched, of course I mean a woman's beauty and a man's power. For every 1 point of hotness a scale a woman goes, a man had better bring a commensurate increase in power. So luckily for us, we can increase that, but a woman is pretty much stuck with what she's born with. The good news for women is that if you're born with the genes for beauty, there isn't a whole lot you need to do to sell yourself. Your product has inherent value. The good news for men is that power comes in many forms. Looks, charm, creativity, money, dominance, all somewhat governed by genetic heritage that can also be improved upon. So when the pairing's mismatched, the lower value partner will exert less control over the direction of the relationship. He or she will be constantly buffeted by the ever-present threat of higher value prospects in the mating pool, winning the affections of the higher powered partner. Again, you see this though, it's not the fault of that hotter chick you managed to land in these situations. It's your own insecurity. And in a lot of cases, it's the girl's own insecurity that causes her to sabotage this stuff too. Two great examples. Guys with a girl much hotter than him. He starts getting controlling. He wants to demand to see her phone, puts GPS trackers in her car, all this stuff. All basically guaranteeing that he is on a short leash and this timeline is basically over before he knows it. Not through anything the more attractive partner did either. And same thing with girls. You get a girl that's been, in abusive relationships and that for long enough, family, friends, former lovers, whatever. My heart bleeds for them. They have an absolutely horrible life. But you start walking in there thinking, I can save her. I'll show her what she's really supposed to be treated like because she's damned worth it. That kind of person obviously thinks the same thing that the unattractive guy thought. I don't deserve this. And so they actively sabotage this behavior because they assume you being the nice guy is actually lying to them. And they sabotage their relationships from it. So don't ever try to save somebody from their life situation because I'm telling you right now, they don't want to be saved and no good deed goes unpunished. Again, give the whole thing a read. I'll have the link to the post in the description. It's definitely worth it. We'll end it off though on the last 3 bits here. So it's no spring breeze for the higher value partner in a relationship either. While the high value partners have the leverage to control it, they'll always feel the temptation to trade up. Resisting temptation is an exercise in futility when the whole world is saturated with willing accomplices and every one of your senses telling you the person you chose to invest your valuable time with is not the best you can do. Sitting in the driver's seat of a 20-year-old Honda Civic will get you where you want to go, but the ride's not as much fun as it could be, and you'll feel guilty for pushing the car to the brink of mechanical failure. Especially when just somebody threw you the keys to a brand new Lexus. Hey, I own a Lexus. That's awesome. Dating multiple partners who are okay with your polyamory will alleviate some of the tension, but eventually the disharmony frays even from best of intentions. We've all known couples who've dated out of our league, and when they inevitably broke up, we were not surprised. But thinking about these breakups, how many were actually really devastated by them? More likely, the exes experienced some relief mixed with feelings of loss. The high energy breakups, the one where there's much more wailing and gnashing of teeth, social withdrawal, and months of rehab, are usually the result of closely matched relationships blindsided by some fluke of the fates, or one partner taking the other for granted and realizing too late how perfectly matched they really were. Something to that one too. If you got something good, enjoy it while it's there. Enjoy it while it lasts and let it go when it's gone. Don't end up thinking that I don't deserve this stuff and sabotaging your own relationships. I guess that's my little note for the girls out there, the 3 that are probably watching this channel. By the way, send this to 10,000 of your friends on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. I guarantee they'll like it. Happiness and love rests in large part on your ability to get past your ego and see yourself for who you are and what you actually bring to the table. It's a soul-wrenching process of self-examination that sometimes only happens after years of reality have pounded you to the fact of your true worth. So if you don't like your market value, then do what you can to raise it. Otherwise, keep tilting at windmills. You never know. Someday, soon, human nature might just change. Again, that's the key to all this stuff. Self-awareness, smashing your ego, living in reality, observing what's going on, and acting accordingly. I can't think of a better way to leave this on that note right there. So I will catch you guys on the next episode. Cheers. Charles Bukowski, Jordan Peterson, Neil Strauss. I like these guys. Add some salt to cover up the bitterness of middle-aged soccer moms and put in the oven for 45 minutes. Optionally, you can take from all this stuff what you want and leave the rest. So enjoy Fuck Files. 15 lessons from a decade of women, now on audio.